Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard the GabNet Tour bus. Today our tour will take us up and around the newly designed Gabnet.net webpage. For your safety, please stay seated while the bus is in motion and enjoy your trip. Also, remember that tipping your tour guide is greatly appreciated. Okay, we're off. The first place of interest that we're going to pass on the top left, you'll see a rotating billboard of all of the great GabNet programs. Legend has it that legendary broadcaster Alex Bennett created this billboard to attract early visitors to GabNet and to lure them into his site. To this day, it's one of the top attractions on our tour. Up next, look over at the top right and you'll see the most recent video of Alex Bennett's Ramble. And if you're lucky enough, we'll see Alex interacting with the citizen panel. Always a tour highlight. Did I mention that tipping your tour guide is greatly appreciated? As we approach the bottom of the Ramble video, we see quick links to all the ways that you can connect with GabNet programs. Facebook Live, YouTube, TuneIn, Livestream, Vimeo, and the GabNet Roku channel. They're all additional stops that you can make if you choose to step off the bus. But remember, please tip your tour guide if you do, and then you can hop on the next bus. Here's another highlight on our tour. On the left side, you'll see GabNet On Demand. You can quickly access any of the most recent programs there. Clearly, a value spot on our tour because downloads are at no extra cost. Please give your attention now to the right side. Look at the complete tutorial on how easy it is to become a citizen panelist. By the way, if you're a Luddite, there's a phone number that you can use to dial in. Okay, we're nearing the halfway point on our trip. I certainly hope that you're enjoying it. Oh look, there's the convenient call Skype button that you can click on, which will automatically connect you to the citizen panel. So now we're turning down the center of the page. I don't want you to miss any of these attractions, so please pay attention. Up first is a link to the 24/7 feed. Now these are going to come fast and furious, so pay attention. Next is a quick note on how you can hear GabNet on Amazon Echo. Next, quickly coming behind that, and this is always exciting, a screen that shows Alex Bennett's Ramble when it is live, with a countdown to the next show. It's always fun when we pass and the show is live. We're winding down our tour of Gabnet.net, but before we reach our final stop, it's important to note that there is a place for you to contact them with your comments. Let them know how you like Gabnet.net and the GabNet programming. And with that, we wrap up our tour. Remember, as you step off the bus, to please be careful. And also remember that GabNet is talk like you've never heard or seen it before. Did I mention, please tip your tour guide?
Spotify has 180 million monthly users and access to 35 million songs and podcasts. Now, all those offerings are going to have to move over and make room for GabNet programming. Yes, at long last, Alex Bennett's Ramble, Damian Chaplin's Exchange, Jack Bishop's The Intersection, and even the franchise MC's Arena and Michael Snyder's weekly movie reviews will be fighting for space on this massive platform. Each day, the programs are updated, so you can hear them on the Spotify app, available for all smartphones and game consoles. Or you can just go to Spotify on the web at spotify.com. So, give us a shot on Spotify. There's a 35 million to 5 chance we'll get people to listen to talk like they've never heard it before. Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network.
Hey everybody, how are you? Oh gee, it's the Ramble. Yep, if it wasn't the Ramble, could I do that? See, it says that, the Alex Ramble Bennett Ramble thing. Anyway, hi, how are you? What's happening? How's your mother? How's your father? How's the family? I have nothing to talk about. I always say that, and then I go for the next 25 minutes or 30 minutes or 40 minutes talking. But I have nothing to talk about, really. See, usually I have a guest here, but if you look closely, there's nobody there. No, nobody there. That's usually where girlfriend sits, but she's lame. I mean, literally lame, and so she went to bed early again tonight. Oops, there we go. That's where she normally would be. Okay, all right. Anyway, where are we? So I basically have to take up the slack and talk here and tell you what's happening in the world and discuss it and then say what's pissing me off. And, you know, there's nothing really pissing me off because last night I couldn't go to sleep. I took one of those gabapentins that I take. I take them about every other night now. I don't take them every night, because I just don't like how forgetful it makes me, and that simple tasks which I do by rote I can't do any longer because I'm too muddled from this drug they give me. And I've been saying this before, you know, as you get older, and I'm about ready, what is it, Tuesday I'm going to be 79 years old. Oh, Jesus, did I make it that long? God. You know what it is when you get to be my age? The problem with getting to be my age is how many people around you are dying. People you liked and knew and hung out with and so on, and now they're dead. I'm trying to think, who died this year that I knew? Well, Stan Lee died. I knew him. And I'm sure there are a lot of other people that have died too. I'm sure Tom Yamaguchi could tell me who that would be. But we lost, you know, you constantly are losing people, and you go, gee, and I'm still alive. So anyway, so what happens is when you get this old, they don't really, they don't care what they give you for drugs. I mean, obvious, if it were legal, I'm sure my doctor would say, hey, you know what's good for the feet? What? Heroin. And you go, heroin? Yeah, sure. Look, you're so old that heroin isn't going to hurt you. Let's say you get a heroin habit. I mean, do you have to go to work? Oh, hey, look, you know, you've got some prostate cancer. It's not terrible, but why don't we just remove the prostate anyway? You have no use for it anymore. What do you mean? I jerk off and I like to have stuff come out every now and then. Well, anyway. They tend to feel that they don't care what they give you because they figure, yeah, you're so old that, you know. So gabapentin makes you loopy all the time and forgetful. If you don't have gabapentin, you're 79 years old and you're going to be forgetful anyway. So they give you this stuff which really has a negative effect on you. And especially me. I'm the kind of guy that... all drugs, a girlfriend brings it up all the time. She says, you just don't tolerate drugs well. And I don't. I get higher than the normal person would get high on stuff. So that's a problem for me. So anyway, so I take this gabapentin, and what it's done is it makes me the sweetest, most wonderful guy. I mean, girlfriend said, boy, you've been so good during this thing where my leg went bad. You've just been real helpful and been there for me, and you've been wonderful. And I said, it's the drug. It's the gabapentin. It has made me very nice towards her. So if I want to stop taking, if I stop taking it one day and I'm a little grouchy, she says to me, you're not on the gabapentin today, are you? Yeah, well, okay. So last night I tried to go to sleep and I had the gabapentin in me, but somehow I was all jazzed up. And I'll tell you later on in the show why I was jazzed up, okay? And so I was having a hard time going to sleep in spite of the fact I took the gabapentin. So I came in and I took a little a quarter of a Xanax, which I don't normally do anymore because I don't need it. The gabapentin puts me to sleep. But it didn't last night. So I woke up this morning at 11:30 because I got to sleep really late. And then I had to do Snyder at like 12:15, which is always a chore for me. And I did it. And but I was just out of it. I have to, the little things that I have to do here, which are commonplace. They're just, I do them by rote because I'm so used to doing them. I suddenly go, now what am I supposed to do next here? I don't understand what I'm supposed to do next. So that's the problem that I have with this drug. I'm not as focused. Like I want to make sure everything's working. Is the audio signal going out? Last night I started late because I forgot to do it. And tonight, is the video going out? Yeah. Is it recording? Yeah, it's recording. But you know what I didn't have? I didn't have my coffee, and in the last 30 seconds of the last promo I was running, I had to run out to the kitchen and grab the coffee and run back just in time to push the buttons to get into the show. So anyway, that's you see, that's it used to be that I would come on here and tell you a story about something interesting that happened to me this day, and there's just nothing anymore. There are no more adventures. My biggest adventure is I go to Costco and they're out of salad, or I go there and they're out of bacon. 'Cause there was always out of something at Costco. Or here's what they do at Costco. I hate this when they do this at Costco. And listen to me, Costco, you motherfucking cocksuckers. Listen to me. So you're always getting, like, let's say, Diet Snapple. All right? And so you go, where Diet Snapple is. It's down the aisle and over to the right, and there's all the Diet Snapple. And I grab the Diet Snapple and I put it in the cart. And I'm on my merry way, And all of a sudden, one day, they decide they're going to move the Diet Snapple. Where's the fucking Diet Snapple? It's not in this aisle where it normally is. It's not in the aisle next to it. And you're literally having to look all over the store for the product that you normally buy. And they do this all the fucking time. I mean, literally, one time they moved the sodas all the way to the other side of the store. Now, they're all over there now, but sometimes I found that they move them down, and sometimes you have to look at the end of an aisle and they put them there. I mean, they're always changing where it's going to be. And I'm sorry. Now, that's my adventure. So I could come back here and say, oh, well, I went to Costco and, hey, guess what? What? They moved the Snapple all the way down the aisle. Wow, what an adventure. I just don't have adventures anymore. I'm sorry. I really, today I didn't work out. That was an adventure. I was supposed to go work out. And my throat has been like seized up on me for a couple of days now. The weather's outside is spiteful. And although it was nicer today, what's the temperature now? It's actually 50 degrees in New York City, and it was snowing a little bit yesterday. And then it's supposed to be cold and rainy tomorrow and maybe snow on Sunday. See, this is my excitement. I have no excitement at all. The biggest excitement I have is sitting here watching the numbers of people who are watching this show go up as the show goes on. But anyway, so usually when I was working and had to go to work every day, at least coming home somehow there would be an adventure. Anytime you take the subway, it's some kind of adventure going on there. It's something you can talk about. I saw a mariachi band. They came through the train today, something like that. I don't have these adventures anymore. You listen to my life in the passing lane, and you think I had the most exciting life anybody ever had. And I really did. I had a very exciting life because I had lots of adventures. But I realized that if I said that was a work in progress, because even though I ended it a couple of years ago, I would keep adding chapters as things happen. And I call maybe addendums or whatever, or add-ons. And yet enough exciting has happened that I can do another episode of Life in the Passing Lane. Nothing really has happened much since the last episode. So I don't know. We got to go somewhere. We got to go on vacation. We got to do something, you know. So I sit here with my cup of coffee every night. This is the kind they get from Pete's. I can't remember the name of it. It's a very fancy name. And I love it because it's really good. You know what Starbucks has now in K-Cups? I got to tell you about this. Have you heard about this? Starbucks double caffeine coffee. It's called Starbucks Plus. And they have it in a roast and they have it in a lighter blend. And I get it in the K-Cups. And it's supposed to be a double jolt of coffee. So I figure, with this gabapentin and stuff making me woozy, I'll take now see, this is an exciting adventure I've had. New coffee. I get the Starbucks Plus, so I sent away for the dark roast, because dark roast it's got to be heavier coffee, right, than light roast, right? Okay. So I ordered the dark roast in the K-Cups, and it came today. And I got to tell you, I've been using the lighter blend, and it's double the caffeine. And you would say, well, boy, that must make you really jittery. It must really wire you out. Doesn't fucking do a thing for me. Coffee doesn't work anymore. And I only take I only do 2 cups a day. Although they say if you do 4 cups a day of coffee, it's actually good for you. That was the latest stuff. Of course, then in a couple of years, they'll come out with something saying it's bad for you. But right now, it's good for you, so here's to you. And people say, well, then how do you get to sleep at night if you do coffee every night on the show? Because I used to do tea. And my answer to you is I go to sleep. Coffee just isn't working on me anymore. Hey, that's exciting. Let me write that down in my diary. Yeah. But let me see here. So I was complaining about Costco. What else could I complain about? You know what I'm going to complain about? This got me yesterday. Here's excitement for you. I had to update my Macs. Yeah, because once every other week, Apple comes along and says, we have a security update, which makes me say to myself, what do you mean? You didn't get it right in the first place? You keep talking about how wonderful your security is, and yet you got updated every 2 weeks? Or we have a new update for Safari. Now, I don't even use Safari, but unless you update it, that updates, you can't just say, I don't want to update it. Just don't bother me. I have no desire to update. At least on Windows, I can sit here and tell it not to update for 90 days. And then when the 90 days is over, excuse me, I've got to sneeze here. Hold on. In fact, I'm going to turn off my microphone so I can blow my nose. There we go. Okay. Now I won't have to sneeze. I have the world's ugliest sneeze. That's exciting, too. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah. So, I can tell Microsoft, hey, I don't want to upgrade. I don't want to update for 90 days. And then when the 90 days is up and they ask me if I want to update, I say I don't want to update for another 90 days. And I don't have to update unless I want to, or I can do it at my discretion. And then when I do it with Windows, when you update, maybe it takes, sometimes it takes 10 minutes, all of 10 minutes to update it, right? Now, Apple comes along and goes, you've got to upgrade because we have a security update and we're updating iTunes and we're updating Safari. And you've got to do it because we're going to keep pestering you every day until you do it. You can't turn off the pestering, or you can't say, well, I don't want to update this one. I'll wait for the next one. No, you've got to do it. So eventually I go, well, this thing's nagging me every day. I may as well do it. And I go to my machines. I take the stream offline. Maybe sometimes I put on the autopilot, which they have at the server, or I just turn it off because nobody's listening to the fucking thing anyway, the 24/7 feed. And so, like yesterday, listen, we just want a security update, and we just want to do a security update to Safari. Okay, fine, all right. On my old machine here, it took, ready for this? An hour. An hour. On my other machine in the other room, which is a fast little machine, it's the what do you call it? The Mac Mini Mac that I bought from Phil. That's really juiced up. It only took it 40 minutes, and this other one I have here took me 45 or 50 minutes. Now I got to tell you, this isn't much of an upgrade that was going on, but it goes on forever. And it keeps going on forever. Some people want to use their machines. Some people want to get to work. I got to blow my nose again. Couldn't hear that because I turned off my mic. Okay. Anyway, the point I'm making is, what's with these 50-minute, 60-minute upgrades? I found out once. You know what I did once? Because I had a machine that went bad or something like that. And they had an upgrade. And I did the upgrade, and it fucked up. Something fucked up. And then I had to go to my backup drive and reinstall my entire operating system. And believe it or not, when I did that, it also installed the new upgrade, the thing that they were going to put in the first place. And where the other one, it was taking up to 45 minutes, this one did it in 25 minutes. So what is Apple's problem? And don't they realize that people want to use their computers? They don't want to sit. And if even upgrading your iPhone sometimes takes a half hour, 45 minutes. So fuck Apple. Fuck Costco. Who else did I complain about? Say fuck. Anyway, fuck the whole world. Anyway, fuck Donald Trump. While I'm at it, I may as well get him into the mix. Boy, he can't be sleeping well at night. Ugh. It just gets worse and worse for him. It's just that how can we'll get into this later. I'm sure Phil will call and we'll get into it. But how his followers can accommodate his lying, his constant lying. And it's not like we're sitting here going, hey, he's a liar. We don't believe what he says. It's not that he lies because he changes his story every day. First, on this whole thing with the payoff to the Playboy Playmate, he denied it altogether. So I don't know a thing about it. And then all of a sudden, it's one thing. So now we're into, the payment to her really wasn't blah, blah, blah. Wait a minute. Didn't you say you didn't do it? And now you say you did? Isn't that what we call, at least in professional circles, fucking lying? Isn't it? So anyway. But as exciting as my life gets. It's just the dullest life one can possibly have. And actually, I keep thinking about maybe making it exciting. Just telling girlfriend, fuck it, leave your job. We'll figure out how to survive. You're making money off of your Social Security. I'm making money off my Social Security. And then we got money in the bank, and I've got a small pension from my union. And together we could probably, together, we could maybe get along on that money. Together, it would become to $50,000-$60,000 a year just in those things. So why don't we do that and then go live in France or Spain or somewhere. I don't want to go to South America. I don't like South America. Neither does Trump. But it's the one place I could go. Trump probably isn't going to go. Anyway, so I've got to do something to jazz up my life, which is very unjazzed as it is. And I feel like I got to go to the bathroom, too. I eat these protein bars. And they've got artificial sweeteners in them because they don't have any carbs. But the one thing they do is they give me the trots. But I like them. So I think I took one earlier tonight, and I think maybe it may have to start exploding. But we'll sit here and hope that I make it through the show without. See, there's more excitement. Will Bennett shit his pants on the air or won't he? Oh, God, life used to be so exciting. It used to be so fun-filled. And then, this. The most exciting thing that's happening to me is, the legal action with the apartment. That, and next month I have to take a test for my prostate to see if my PSA has gone up. It went up last time. See if it's gone up. And, that's exciting because I could have prostate cancer. That would be nice. Not really. I think it's something else. Actually, what it was, all of a sudden it went up, and I couldn't figure out why it went up. And then I read that your PSA can go up if you cycle. And I use the life cycle at where I work out. And about 3 days later, I took the PSA test, and it probably was a reaction to that. Also, my doctor told me to take an anti-inflammatory for 5 days before the thing, and that it'll probably make it go down because he thinks it's from something else, from some calcium deposit that I have on my... Because he's gone in there, he doesn't see a thing. But, I figure something says like, well, so-and-so is going to be on January 3rd, and I go, that's near when I have to have my test, and I will not be able to watch that without knowing I have prostate cancer. That's me. That's excitement for me. I put excitement in my life by terrorizing myself unnecessarily. Do you realize that? So anyway, I've got a lot of people watching this, and I'm acting like I'm crazy here. So that's good. That's good. And if you used to listen to me in radio, this ain't as interesting either, is it? It's all fucking dull, my life. Let me turn on the fucking phones. Then we can do the fucking show. Okay? Put myself online. Okay, we're going. Okay, it's time for you to call me. And if I have to go to the bathroom, I'll have these guys talk to themselves. Okay? Is that a deal? Our number, if you don't know how to call us, go over to gabnet.net. Over on the right-hand side of the page, the whole tutorial on how you can call us. Also, while you're there, the program is live, the video is live on that page right now. So have a good time, okay? Hey, guess who's already here? Hey. There he is.
So, I wouldn't worry about the level of PSA that you have now.
Yeah.
Even if it goes up, it's natural that it goes up as you age.
Yeah, I guess so. So anyway, you ought to know you don't have one.
Well, I'm trying to lose weight, and didn't really make that much of a difference.
Yeah. Well, your PSA is what? It's 0 now, right?
Yes, it's 0, and it's been tested a couple of times, and it's been 0.
Yeah. So that's how they get rid of it. They're going to find out like 200 years from now that this was the wrong way to deal with the prostate.
Well, I've got a feeling that there are ways of having good prostate health. I don't know what they are, and at this point, I don't really care. But there must be ways of dealing with it.
And if I want to get a younger audience, neither do they. If we keep talking about prostate problems,
face the fact that you used to be number one, 18 to 35. Now you're, number 630,000.
No, I'm number one in my target age group, which is 70 to 75. So know, yeah. Yeah.
Well, Geritol is, they'll probably offer to advertise.
There's an old term. I don't think they make Geritol anymore.
No?
No. Geritol was for old people, right? And I never could figure out what Geritol did or what the fuck was in Geritol.
No, but they advertised a lot.
Oh, yeah. They were proof positive that if you advertised, people would buy a product. What was their slogan? Geritol, something.
I don't remember.
Well, let me look. Let me see. Do they have Geritol here? Let me look up on
advertised everywhere, right?
Yeah,
it was everywhere.
It was everywhere. Geritol. Geritol. Well, they have multivitamin tablets now. Okay. But wait a minute. Do they still make Geritol the liquid? Yeah, they do. It's a name for various dietary supplements, past and present. Geritol is a brand name for several vitamin complexes plus iron or multi-mineral products, both in liquid and tablet form. It contains iron. Now, my question is...
So do Flintstones.
Yeah. But does it fucking matter? Will it? Huh?
Well,
it's made out of old Buicks.
It's made out of old Buicks, right?
Hey, as long as it helps with ED, nobody cares.
Erectile dysfunction, ladies and gentlemen. I love how when you watch these ads on TV for all these diseases, they're always using initials. Do you have ED?
Yeah.
What? Educational deficit? What?
Every time I see that commercial for Bounce, where the guy's got wrinkles in his shirt, it reminds me of what you had said, Alex, about you make up a problem and then
this was my theory.
Come up with
my theory of advertising. What you do is you create a problem and then you supply the product to solve it.
Yeah, this Nebbish is in a meeting with 4 or 5 Japanese buyers, and they're looking at him like he's from outer space because his shirt's all wrinkled. Yeah. Then they show him sitting in a sauna trying to get the wrinkles out of the shirt. Then he uses Bounce, and he goes back into the meeting with the same shirt, and the people buy, and he's jumping up and down.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a good example of my theory. Hello, Charlene.
Hey.
Hi.
My theory. Remember years ago, and Charlene will remember this, they started having a whole thing with vaginal hygiene deodorant sprays.
Or is your dog getting enough cheese?
Well, no. But they advertised to women on this, and I don't know, it was called, what was it? Something Spring or something like that.
Vagisil or
No, not Vagisil.
Irish Spring was a soap.
No, but this was anyway. They were feminine hygiene deodorant sprays. Mm-hmm. Now, to begin with, how many women knew that they even smelled down there? Could they kind of get in bed and then double themselves over and go down there and take a sniff?
Don't they douche?
So what this company did was made them feel insecure that they might have feminine, a feminine odor.
Alex, I remember back in the days when I listened to you, there was a guy, he was a comedian, Chris Rush, and I think you had him on or something, but he used to do a bit. I had it, like, I think it was in a Playboy magazine. They gave you a free record inside, like a vinyl, and I got it when I was young, and I played it, and it was so funny. He's like, crotch on television? Smelly crotch on television?
Yeah, but
I remember being a young girl, I probably was like maybe 14,
what they did was they supplied women with this insecurity that, God forbid some guy should start going down on them and the odor would be too much to stand, which quite frankly has always been the case. But anyway, So they made women go with this feminine hygiene deodorant spray. The only problem with the feminine hygiene deodorant spray and the douches, the various douches they came out with to take care of your insecurity, was they completely ruined what they called the flora and fauna of the vagina.
They're no good for you, right?
I know it sounds like she's growing flowers in there, okay, but she's not. And it literally a lot of women.
pH. It ruins the pH.
The pH factor, yeah. And they were very bad for women, not good, but they created
Massengill. That was the douche. Massengill.
Yeah. Here for the fourth
name.
night in a row, ladies and gentlemen. Fourth night in a row. Rob Alfano. Hello, fourth night.
I like Rob.
Hey, good evening, everyone.
Yeah.
He started that Woot thing last night.
By the way, I got to tell you about Woot. Can I tell you about it? I'll tell you about it. I was waiting for you to come on tonight, Rob, so I could tell you the story. So last night after the show, I said to myself, I looked it up, and I wasn't completely sold on this. What was it?
QNAP.
GNAP. QNAP, which is a thing you use to network hard drives in your home, right? Again, I do that so I can watch stuff on my TV set that I have on my hard drives, okay? And I was looking for a new way to do it, because, and this looked like a pretty good thing. But after the show, I looked at it, and to begin with, they weren't going to be able to deliver till after January 1st. And secondly,
even with your Prime,
Woot doesn't do.
It doesn't ship Prime. It
doesn't ship 2 days.
It's just free. Okay.
And I also didn't see where it served DLNA.
It does.
Well, it didn't say anything there to that effect.
Yeah,
and
it does.
I didn't want to get it and not have it work. Okay, so I called up Woot and I canceled it. Okay, so today I go to Amazon and they've got it. It was $169, right? They've got it for $229, but then for $289 they've got like a 4-disc version of QNAP, and it said DLNA. It specifically said DLNA, so you can run it on TV sets and so on. And I figured, well, maybe this is the one I want. And then I looked, and it said it's $289 or $0 if you use your American Express rewards points. So I never knew what these rewards points were. So I went online, I figured it out, and I went on and I ordered this drive using my American Express, and it used up most of the rewards points that I had, but the rewards points paid for the whole thing.
Cool.
Oh, wow.
So I'm getting their better version of their product. And one that says all its stuff, it says DLNA, run it on your TV set. So I was very certain about it. Also,
I checked it out. The other one does. Believe me, before I bought it, I watched all the reviews. I read the specs.
Yeah,
it does all that. Yeah. I just didn't want to. I just didn't want to spend that much money. I didn't want to go past $200.
Yeah, this one also has 4.
Right. 4 drives.
4 drives, and you can put one in if you want to, and it'll work with just
one. Do the
one.
drives have to match?
No.
Sure they do.
Oh, not in the Drobo.
What do you mean? They have to match in size?
No, they don't. Not in the Drobo.
What the hell are you doing? You can't do RAID 5.
I happen to have 5 8-terabyte drives
that
are exactly the same. But in a Drobo, you do not have to have.
Well, then you're not doing
drives.
RAID levels.
No,
you're not. You can't.
Maybe not.
You could put 5 separate drives in there, correct? But you can't do a RAID level without having the exact same size drive.
What's a
RAID?
RAID?
Doesn't work that way.
What's a RAID?
I know.
Level?
I happen to have the same size drives.
Yeah.
What do you mean by
populated.
What do you mean by a RAID level?
So there's RAID 0, which is mirroring. Take 2 drives, put them in. If you put 2 1-terabyte drives in, you only have 1 terabyte of space, but every write that's written to that one drive is written automatically to the other drive.
Yeah.
That's RAID 0. RAID 10 or RAID 1 is where it's the mirroring. It's
you have an extra drive, I think.
You get the fastest RAID level RAID 5 gives you the best. The problem with these RAID levels is that there's a high overhead on them. So the RAID 1 has got the highest overhead. So if you have two 1 terabyte drives, by the time RAID is basically it's protection. Okay, it's protection. So if one drive goes out, you can put another drive in and it rebuilds the other drive.
Right.
So you get 2 drives in there or 3 drives in there, all at RAID 1. You pull out one of those drives, you pop in a fresh drive, and it automatically, with the information that's left, it builds the that fresh drive out. That's what professional
but what
storage
now?
uses.
And I have RAID 6.
RAID 6 is so you get two drives. You get 2 drive failures.
Right.
Right. And the reason why organizations do that is because the larger the drives, the longer they take to rebuild. So if you're doing a RAID 5 and you only have 1 spare in there, your drives are working extra hard not only to do its normal processing for business, but to rebuild the other drive. So there's a higher chance you're more vulnerable to lose another drive, and if you do, you've lost all your data.
Let's say I don't care about that. All I want is for this stuff to work on the network.
Well, you don't want to lose your drives. Drives will go out.
I don't give a shit. Okay, let's say I don't give a shit for a moment.
If you don't give a shit, then it doesn't matter. You could put 5 drives in there, and you could have 5 times whatever size you want. That's called JBOD, just a bunch of disk.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And you don't have.
But you get better performance with RAID.
Yeah. And
so
my,
wait a minute.
My
let me
unit
ask
has
you a
a
question.
SSD.
Yeah, but let me,
cache.
We don't care what your Drobo has. Here's what I'm asking: is if I put in 1 drive, it's going to record all my stuff to that drive, right?
That's right.
If I put in a second drive, is it going to record stuff to that drive too?
It depends on the RAID level you set.
What if he's just doing a JBOD?
If you're doing JBOD, yeah.
So he records to the 1 drive unless he tells it to record to the second drive, or he fills the 1 drive up and it starts overflowing to the second drive?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's what they call just a bunch of disks or a dumb disk. So it'll just fill up 1 drive, then fill up the next, and fill up the next.
Can I decide Can I decide what I want to put on 1 disk and what I want to put on another disk?
I don't think so. No. You'd have to then what you'd have to do then is put a NAS. Well, you do that. Yes, you could, because what you would do is you would use the utilities that come with the QNAP, which is a NAS head, which stands for Network Attached Storage. And what that does is it allows you to carve up. I don't understand
any of this.
So, but you know what? This is simple shit. For all
there's a dashboard
that you do. All of the video and all of the stuff that you do, the website is far more complex than this. It really is.
Okay, here's what I want to do. I want to have maybe 4 drives of 4 terabytes each.
Yeah.
And I want to have 16 terabytes of space to put video.
So then you want
JBOD.
You want JBOD.
Okay.
Meaning you're going to put 4 drives in there, and when you go through the setup process, you're going to choose JBOD as the option. You have the choice of JBOD or a different RAID level.
Yeah. Now, and if I do the RAID level, then how much space do I have?
It depends on which RAID level you choose.
Yeah.
And it depends on the overhead of that RAID level. So, like I said, you get more performance, faster response times. You're putting in the slowest disk you can put in, the 5200s or the 5400
I was thinking
drive.
A 7200. Yeah.
Oh, you got 7200?
I'm going to get a 7200. Yeah.
That's a smarter move. I should have done that.
So you'll get 7,200 RPM speed. The reason for RAID is that what it does is it builds this grouping of these drives, and it spreads out the files over those 3 or 4 disks. So you get 7,200 times 3. Yeah. So you get that much. You get that kind of speed. It also gives you redundancy. The problem is there's an overhead that comes along with it, right?
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, you put 4 8-terabyte drives. I'm sorry, 4 4-terabyte drives like you're talking about. That would give you 16 terabytes of raw space. By the time you take the RAID overhead down, you might lose one of those drives, because what has to happen is, if you're going to do a RAID level where you're one of those drive number 3 goes bad, you pull that drive out, you put in another drive, how do you think it's going to rebuild it? It has to keep spare space available on those other drives.
On the listing of this particular situation, it doesn't say anything about RAID.
Can I recommend that you down...
Wait a minute, I'm talking, Phil. I'm asking him a question. I'm asking him a question.
Well, I have something to tell you.
Oh, boy. Go ahead.
Well, I think you should just download the software for the dashboard, and then you could just look at the dashboard and see, what that device does. I know that.
I don't think this one does RAID.
Yeah, it does.
It does?
Okay. Yes, it does.
So, in other words, if I put in, let's say, 2 4-terabyte drives, okay? How much space am I going to get if I'm, say, RAID 5?
You can't be. You need
3 drives. No, there is some software out there in some of the consumer models.
Okay, let's say I put 4 terabyte drives in each of the 4 slots, okay? Right. And now I go to RAID 5.
You'll probably lose
12
drive.
What? I lose one drive?
You probably lose about 4 terabytes of space.
And what is that being used for?
That's being used for spares. So if, like I was trying to explain to you, if you put 4 drives in there, any one of those drives that goes bad, you're still serving your data. In other words, you won't know it. You'll see a red light on the front of the device telling you got a bad drive, but your array will stay up. It'll keep running, and you'll still be serving files.
Okay.
So then you get another 4 terabyte drive, you slide it in there, and what happens is the rest of those 3 drives rebuild that one drive.
Okay.
And so you can still operate.
That's how enterprise works, because if, I sell, this is what I do for a living, I sell storage arrays.
See, that's why you understand this stuff, and it's a completely new world.
You would it's not so
Damien sells storage too.
When I get mine, if I'm having problems with it, can I call you?
Absolutely.
Okay, because I'm probably going to have to, because I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? You're technically more savvy than me. I would never be able to figure out the shit you do.
Well, anyway, would you? I guess I should get 4 drives.
But
then.
For sure, if you want to take the best advantage of that device, you would set it up with a RAID and put the 4 drives in there.
Because I found 4 terabyte, 72 RPM. 7,200 RPM for $79 each on Amazon. Yeah.
What are they meant for a NAS? Because there are some drives aren't meant for a NAS.
Yeah, be careful with that. Make sure they are meant for NAS.
Okay, so then there is one for NAS that's like 129.
So you want to make sure you get the NAS ones.
Yeah, but I can only afford a couple of them. I can't afford, a whole bunch.
You can always add on the fly if it's like mine.
You can just use 1 drive, right?
I think you need 2. No.
For what?
To start to use the system. He wants to know if you can use 1.
I would think you could use just 1 drive if you want to put one in.
I read on the depiction of the whole thing from people talking about it. That, yes, you can add 1, and then when you add 2, it picks up from that point on.
Yeah, I don't know about expanding the RAID level. I don't know on those devices if that's possible. In some professional equipment, it is. Actually, in all professional equipment, it is. So it should be. You put it in there, and what happens is the data spreads. You have to expand the RAID group, and the data will actually move itself from one drive to the other, and so the usage of one drive will reduce and the other one will expand, so it tries to balance it.
And how does all of that show up in your on your TV set? Does it just show up as one drive?
Well, it's not going to it could show up any way you want because it's a NAS device. So in the software, you can create, in the NAS software, you can actually create your own folders. Yeah. And like shares, you're creating shares, and then you can put movies in individual shares and individual folders. Like if you open up File Explorer on your Mac or on Windows, you would see individual folders, right?
Yeah.
And you could carve up that data any which way you want. If you have 8 terabytes, you can make. You're not going to have one big 8 terabyte. You're not going to have one big 8 terabyte space. You're going to make little folders that you need, a couple of terabytes or whatever. You're not going to make.
So what brand of hard drive are you using?
So here's what happened. I just got an email from Newegg there, that for some reason my credit card, you had the reverse problem. I was able to get through on Woot no problem, but they sent me a note tonight saying that my credit card authorization failed. So I need to, for some reason, I don't know why, I have to call them tomorrow. And so I'm not sure. I might look elsewhere for drives. But what I went with was the Seagate drives.
I have the Reds.
I'm using the Seagate drives that I watched. I watched a bunch of videos. These are the ones that QNAP used as the benchmark drives.
Yeah,
they're the ones that they
how much
are they Seagate Reds?
And how much were they?
No, they came out. It was 3. So they were. I have to go back to my email here. Give me a second, and I'll tell you.
While you're looking for that, can I tell you that if you get a credit card with Adorama and you spend over,
I don't want to do that.
No. But the deal is you get 1 year no interest, and
I don't do credit cards like that. I don't like doing that. No. I don't like taking out credit cards for a deal because it's
no. I buy all my equipment that way.
That's fine. You use Adorama. We don't want to have an Adorama credit card.
I don't. I don't like taking out credit cards.
I don't care if it has no interest. I don't want it. Neither does my credit card.
I guess you're not interested.
No, I'm not interested.
No interest.
So what I got, I paid $120 for these Seagate Constellation drives, 4 terabytes, 7,200 RPMs. They're on Newegg. So the 3 of them came out to $359.
When you get your drive, does it suggest what kind of drive to put in there?
What do you mean?
Is there a suggestion in the QNAP in their manuals and so on what kind of drives to use?
No, I anything that says, these say these say Seagate Constellation ES, and then there's a model number, 4 terabyte, 7,200 RPM, 128 meg cache, SATA, 6 gig throughput drives, enterprise internal hard drive. So they had the word enterprise in there, meaning therefore a NAS.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is that suppose I took one of these 7,200 that didn't say NAS on it. Would it still work?
I don't know. I would have to say probably not.
I would have to say probably. I would have to,
I don't know. It might be a firmware issue inside the drive that wouldn't make it work in a NAS.
Now, Rob, I thought you had one of the Synology.
No, I was looking at Synology. I never bought it. Too expensive. I saw this last night, $169, and I jumped on it. I really never wanted to spend over $200 on the device itself before I have to put drives in it. This was a good deal. I said, screw it. For $169, I'm ready to jump in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me see here. I'm looking up internal hard drives. Oh, boy, I can't type anymore. Hard.
Well, the interesting thing to Google is difference. Let's just type in enterprise. Enterprise.
And they all have to be the same size? In other words, I couldn't do like a 6 terabyte and a 4 terabyte and a...
You could, but then you couldn't have a RAID backup.
What are you talking? I didn't hear the question.
He wanted to know if he could use a 4 and a 6.
So you can't set up a RAID unless you have the same size drives, because if you understand how a RAID works, you would strand. So here's what would happen if you did do it and it worked. If you had a 2 terabyte drive and a 4 terabyte drive, you would strand 2 terabytes. You would only be able to get as much space as the smallest drive. So the other 2 terabytes would be not usable.
Oh, I see.
Hey, Rob?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Rob, what industry uses this? No, I don't get
everybody. every industry. Any business that has storage area networks, that any company, any business, this is how they store their data. They would never just put it on a hard drive.
And you talk about Newegg, and you make me remember I worked packing boxes out here at Newegg. It's a Chinese company, and there were all Chinese people there that did not really speak English. And I ended up like I Love Lucy. They let me go because I kept playing with the belt.
Shirley, what I'm showing you right here is a 5-bay drive called
it's
the Drobo.
Like a hard drive?
It's got 5 hard drives in it.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, 1, 2, 3, the green things, right?
Well, the green things tell you that the drives are okay. So it tells you the health of the drive.
They're
so
on.
if the drive was failing, that would turn a different color.
This is probably pretty boring for most of the people listening to the show. Look at Patrick.
I don't think so.
Patrick's
I think anybody
excited.
who listens
Look
to the
at
show's
Jeff.
got a computer.
No, they don't care. To begin with, they don't want to buy a Drobo because they're far too expensive, and I consider them a ripoff.
Well, they're really easy to use.
No.
And that's what I was going to say. Like a person like me, I don't really need a Drobo. Is that what it is?
All I want is...
You see, everybody is storing pictures today, and that is really videos and pictures and baby pictures, especially people who have children. And a NAS device especially one with a RAID level, is a great way to protect that.
This is 47 megabytes. Every one of my files is a monster.
Right. So that's what I mean. That's why a NAS device works for you, because you're protected. You don't have to worry about what am I going to do to, this hard drive is dead, or like what Alex does is he makes all these copies, these disparate copies. Right. It's a lot easier just to have this space and being protected with multiple drives running at once. And if one goes bad, just pop in a fresh one, and it automatically builds itself.
I read in one of the question and answer things on Amazon, somebody said, "Can I just put one drive in?" And they said yes.
Yeah, I think you can, but you get zero protection, and you've bought a very expensive piece of equipment.
Well, I'm not buying this for protection, believe it or not. I'm buying this because I like the idea of being swappable drives. Okay.
But it's not swappable if you only have one in there.
No, I'm saying, but if I have a couple of them and I can swap them, But anyway, the point is that the reason.
Well, wait a minute. Just understand though, if you don't do RAID, swapping means nothing.
Okay.
Okay, because if you think about it, right? If you've got 4 drives in there and you don't set them up as RAID,
I still have no idea what a fucking RAID is.
No,
it's just a collection of drives, and it's just a collection of drives, 3, 4, whatever it is, and they work together. They work together in concert, meaning they are then think about they're in Costco, and they got a big ribbon around them.
If I had 2 drives in there, they would work in concert with each other, right?
If you set them up as RAID.
Yeah. Okay.
If you don't set them up as RAID, then they're just 2 separate drives. So if you lose one drive, you lose everything on that drive. What you have to understand is, in order for a RAID to work, every file exists on multiple devices, on multiple drives. So one file is going to live on multiple drives. So if you lose one of those drives, other drive will rebuild it automatically. If you have everything single drives, when you lose that single drive, it's not replicating data anywhere.
This mentions nothing about RAID on it, in the description of it.
It has to do with the setup.
No,
but it supports, believe me, it supports multiple RAID levels. Probably it supports RAID 1, RAID 5, and RAID 6.
Well, it's a QNAP, so I imagine it does. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the less expensive one does, so I know that one will.
Yeah. Anyway, let's stop with this. It's giving me a headache. I'm getting it for free, so if it doesn't work, fuck it.
It's the opposite.
You're gonna get ripped off.
No more, Phil. No more, Phil.
Oh, okay.
Ended up getting it free.
It's the opposite of mix minus.
You know what's interesting is, you mentioned about how I'm good with stuff like this, Rob, but I'm really not anymore. It used to be that I could get these concepts very easily. You could say that to me, and I would get it. And I can't get it. I don't get it anymore.
Just Google RAID levels and then read about it quick. Like, there's a great Wikipedia page on the different RAID levels and explains how RAID works, what it does, and then the different RAID levels and what they offer.
I like what Forbin Colossus wrote on our chat here. RAID kills bugs dead.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
RAID stands for a redundant array of independent disks. RAID.
I would say with a 4-disk unit that you should use RAID 5, because it's only going to use one drive for the backup.
First, I got to be able to afford 4 drives. Okay.
Well, then don't get 4 terabytes each. Get 2.
I want 4 terabytes each.
Oh, okay.
If I could, I would put 12 terabytes in there.
You have that much stuff?
Huh?
You have that much stuff?
Sure, why not? I got that much stuff. Yeah.
See, I don't.
Right now,
can you daisy chain those things? So if he ends up filling up the that because he has a lot of movies, can you daisy chain it with another QNAP?
You would just put another QNAP on your network. What's the difference? Why would you need to daisy chain them?
Yeah.
Just put another one on the network.
See, right now I have, I had 5 network drives here. One of them went bad the other day. And I decided that I've got to do, it wasn't an important drive, but I wanted to protect my important drives. So what I want to do is maybe start putting things all on something like this. So that I have all my movies and all my TV shows and stuff like that all on one. Forget about it, Phil. I'm sick of you saying RAID 5.
Okay, RAID 6.
Well, he's just trying to make a point that if you don't put a RAID level on it, then you've got a nice expensive NAS device there, and it's no different than the drives you got sitting there. Yeah, if you don't set up a RAID.
I've got more space on one device.
You'll have more space, but you'll still suffer the same loss if the drive goes bad. You'll lose every bit of data that's on that drive if you don't do a RAID level.
Quite frankly, between you and me, I can't see how it's going to take care of all my stuff that's on 3 drives on 1 drive.
How big are those 3 drives?
They'd all be 4 as well, right? So they all have to be even.
Oh, no. I thought you were saying, you say that again. What was your, you can't understand how?
If I put 4 terabyte drives in there.
Yeah.
Okay. How does it back up all of those on 1 drive?
It doesn't back it up. It just keeps, all it does is redundant array of independent disks. So what's happening is it is making copies of the chunks that make up the files and storing them in extra. That's what the overhead is on a drive, right? So let's say it takes 1/3 of every drive and holds it.
It's really, I'm getting a headache here. I really am.
Even Patrick understands.
Patrick?
I think even I understand.
Patrick?
It can recreate
Wait a minute, Charlie.
The way that I guess would be the simplest explanation is if you bought 4 separate drives that were not RAID and you put everything on each drive separately, then if one of the drives went, you would have a backup on the other 3, but that's all your work. Every time you want to save something, you've got to put it on each of those drives separately.
It would cost
RAID,
you, and it would also cost you.
What's that?
It would also, if you're going to do it your way, that way, then let's say you had a 2 terabyte file. Then you're actually storing 2, 4, 6, 8 terabytes. You're taking up more space than you would if you use the RAID.
I also use ChronoSync, and on top of the Drobo, I have 2 4 terabyte USB external drives, and once every few weeks, I back up to those drives, and when I back up to one, also backs up to the other. And so I use a program called ChronoSync.
Alex is bored now, so
he's bored, but he's the one sitting with a dead drive, and we're not.
I don't even have the drive yet, and I didn't pay anything for it.
No, I'm talking about the one you lost all your data on.
There was nothing on there.
There is nothing on there now. Your drive died, so whatever was on there. If you had the proper system, would still be available to you.
I wouldn't care.
All right. So what if it was a drive that had shit you did care about?
Well, then I guess I would be pissed right now.
Right.
But I can back.
I
can back all of those up with just an external drive.
Well, that's just another drive then.
Yeah, and that one can fail. You see, it doesn't matter which one. It doesn't matter which one.
Not if I use it as an archive and I put it away.
Well, that's true, but then you're going like for like, one for one, so gig for gig, as opposed to if you have a 4 terabyte drive.
When I get it, Rob, I will call you and you will tell me how to set this whole thing up. Yeah,
okay.
You know, and meanwhile, I don't see anything online that really says NAS drives that much.
There are. Believe me, there are. So just be careful of the ones you get.
I mean, it goes. Let me see here. What was it? The red, the Seagate red. There we go. Seagate red. It doesn't say any. It's 5,400 RPM. The Seagate reds. They're $80 a piece. That's reasonable.
Yeah, they're slow.
They're slow. That's 2 terabytes. By the way, for the 80,
but does this unit have like an accelerator, like a turbo?
Jesus Christ! I don't know, Phil.
I'm asking Rob. Who the fuck is asking you?
I don't know either.
He doesn't know either. He doesn't see.
I don't know which one he's got. I don't know.
Okay. This book.
Oh fuck!
It's a book about digital asset management. It's a big one.
The damn book.
The damn book. And
he's got the damn book.
Yeah, and it's all about backing up and creating a workflow for digital asset management.
Is that like that thing for idiots?
Yeah.
What do they call that one? The yellow one? That everything is for idiots.
Dummies. The dummies.
The dummies.
I got dummies.
I've got a bunch of those. That's how I learned IT. All the dummy books.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Oh God.
Let me see here. 4 terabytes.
I missed a lot. Did you talk about Marjorie, Alex, and I missed it, or?
No, we didn't have time to talk about her. We were too busy talking about raids.
Hey, unless Marjorie has hard drives, he doesn't want to know about it.
No, because you haven't said much about how she's. I mean, I think you mentioned that she's doing better, and it's like not broken. He said it and everything, right? But she's still resting, I guess, a lot, right?
Yeah. Anyway, here's a drive. This is a Seagate 8 terabyte Iron Wolf Pro 7,200 RPM NAS for $6,305.
There you go. Pick up 4 of those.
Well,
pick up 4 of those.
I think I'm going to buy a cheap one and then see what happens. I bet
if you buy it from Amazon, you can always. I think. Can you return hard drives to Amazon?
Maybe not. I don't know. But if it's like $80, who cares? And if it's 7,200, who knows? It probably will work.
You have some drives sitting in some old computers that you can just pull out?
Yeah, I have a whole bunch of old drives that I haven't.
Try them in there. You could try any drive.
Stick them in.
If they fit.
Yeah. Oh, they'll fit.
Yeah, if they're 3.5s, they'll fit.
Yeah. Anyway, enough of this. Oh, wait a minute. We've got a lot of people listening.
Told you.
What is that about?
We got to do an IT help show.
Yeah.
Hey, he helped me turn off my GoPro last night.
That's right.
Yeah, and that I can do. Anyway, where was I? Let's see here. What else was happening today that was that was interesting to talk about? CBS. Let's see. CBS paid out a lot of money to these women who were complaining about 60 Minutes.
Yeah.
What about the one that got $9.5 million? She was on that show. It was a CBS show. The hell is the name of it? The guy goes in and looks at trials at juries, and reads the jury or something. She was on 3 shows, She says that she was sexually harassed. She said something to the guy, and then they kicked her off the show. And so they just gave her $9.5 million, which was what she would have had if she was on the show.
$9.5 million for having somebody tell you got nice tits.
Exactly.
Bull.
What?
Yeah, Bull. That's it. Bull. It was the name of the show. I've never seen it, but she wasn't bad.
I would not want to be in business today. You know, I mean, it's just all somebody has to do is claim this shit, and they get a payout.
Right.
Just to shut them up. You know.
Hey, Alex, you sexually harassed me.
The word is harassed to begin with, in case people don't know.
Big deal.
No, but I'm saying everybody says harassed, and it's harassed. It's the actual pronunciation of the word. But you know, what was it tonight that I heard some story and I went, oh fuck, here's another person griping about something else. You know, I just think that this whole Me Too thing has gotten way out of hand.
And it's on our side, man. It's on our side.
What do you mean it's on our side? Yeah, it's on the left.
It's the left.
Yeah, well,
sucks.
it's not the left. You know what it is? It's McCarthyism. It's accusation without having to have backup on the accusation. All you have to do is accuse, and somebody's life is ruined. That's it. Now, and we don't. We also put the onus of, say, Bill Cosby. We give the same weight to, say, what happened to my friend, the comedian, Louis C.K. They tend to equate the two as being equally harmful. And I got to tell you, there's a big difference between what Bill Cosby did and what Louis C.K. did. Yeah. And to conflate the two as in the same category with the same weight and the same strength is, I think, disgusting.
Yeah, but it's on our side. Look what happened with what's his name, our disgraced senator there, whatever.
Weiner.
No. The guy from Saturday Night, Al Franken.
Al Franken.
Yeah.
I mean, they made him resign over just nothing.
He mugged a shot. You know, right. he had a photo mug with somebody, and I think it was probably consensual.
There's no way a Republican would have ever resigned.
He shouldn't have resigned.
If I were him, I would have gone to the committee and told my story, and then let them counter that story. That was a gag shot that they took.
Terrible.
You know, and my congresswoman here, what's her name?
Oh, the blonde one.
Gillibrand, or as I like to call her, the cunt. She loves to eat her own. You know, because she thinks this is going to put her in the presidency. Well, I ain't voting for her. I'll tell you that right now.
I wouldn't vote for her either.
She's a fucking whore. All right? And I'm not talking about it sexually. I'm talking about it politically. She's a political whore. And what she did to Al Franken. You know, I was never a big fan of Franken's only because he used to beat the shit out of me at pinball. And I always thought they did this Air America thing. He was terrible. So when he ran for the Senate, I went, but as time went on, I became a fan of his because he was a true believer. He took the right stance. And I think Patrick would even agree with this. He doesn't agree with Al Franken, and neither does Phil, but he took the right stance. He was a strong leftist senator. And
I don't like a public servant.
And to get him out of Congress was, I think, just sad, very sad. You know. Now, you can disagree with that, Phil, because you don't like his politics, but you have to admit that he was a very good advocate for what he believed. You know.
Hey, off the Me Too a little bit. Why are all of these people committing suicide? There was a meteorologist yesterday, 35 years old, had LASIK surgery, and then she committed suicide. yesterday, I think.
Well, thank you for changing the conversation.
Well,
something. If it were something related to what we were talking about, yes.
Yeah. Well, I was done with that.
But we weren't.
Got what he deserved.
But we weren't.
Okay, go ahead. Bash Franken. It's
I'm not
fun.
Bash Franken. I'm not bashing Franken at all. I think I'm bashing Gillibrand because I think what she did is she managed to get rid of one of the most ardent spokesmen for the left in the United States Senate.
All right. She did good.
Well, she's good looking anyway.
Gillibrand?
Yeah, she is.
Not anymore. Not like the socialist.
Ocasio?
No, she's. Can I say that in this day and age, or will I get a Me Too citation?
Well, she's a public figure now, so she's open to everything.
As we would have said back in the '60s, I'd fuck her.
Yeah,
with my
dick. Today.
There's a term you can't use anymore. Right. I'd fuck her.
That's one of Dice Clay's lines.
What?
Oh,
no. He would say, "I fucked her."
If he would try to come out now, remember they didn't like him back then. Now they'd really.
Well, now they'd have a lynching party.
Yeah, he could never be.
Yeah, I didn't like what he did before. I mean, I always found it sexist personally. At a time when people weren't complaining about that.
But that was what I thought was so funny about it, though.
Well,
because he went so extreme that guys like that were.
He was doing an act because I was talking yesterday to 2 days ago to Stephen Pearl, who knows Dice and says really nice guy, a sweet guy, But that was an act he was doing on stage. The problem was the audience didn't think it was a character. And so he was spreading a message that was not a positive one. That was the problem with Dice.
That's true. It's not a positive one, but people need to wake up and realize they went to see a show.
Yeah, well, you're expecting people to be more intelligent than that. Okay?
They went to see a show. This guy was not standing up giving a lecture on how to treat women.
It was kind of like Uri Geller, who used to bend spoons with his mind. Well, it was a very good magic trick. But he didn't pass it off as a magic trick. He passed it off as real. And that's what Penn Jillette, my friend Penn Jillette, hated about him, was not that he was doing a great magic trick. If he had said, hey, and that's an illusion, fine. But no, he tried to say, I can bend these spoons with my mind. And he actually had our government believing it. They brought him in and they wanted to test him and see how he did it and if they could use him as a weapon and all kinds of things.
What's the trick? What's the answer to the trick?
I don't know the answer to the trick, and if I did, I wouldn't tell you.
You think he had two spoons, one bent, one not bent?
No.
And then sleight of hand?
The amazing Randy replicated the whole thing without any problem, okay?
Yeah.
So it's
he
not...
just died, right?
It's not a big secret, okay?
You know what comes to my mind when you compare somebody like Dice Clay to, let's say, Rickles, like you were saying, and Uri Geller, who he pawned himself off as a guy who can actually do this rather than have it be a trick, right? And that it was so serious that the government brought him in. Did Rickles never went on stage without saying, I kid everybody, really, and he never ever but before he was off stage, he broke character, if you will, and always said something, like he always used to, say nice things, I kid everybody, I'm a Jew and, we all need to get along or whatever. Dice would walk off the stage. He would come on the stage and go off the stage as that character. The difference between him and Rickles was Rickles always would get he would get a little bit, human by the end of the act.
Well, the thing is that with Rickles, you knew that he was kidding.
Right.
That was his shtick,
yeah, and that's the point. Nobody thought that Rickles was actually that way, and he can make.
And He called you a hockey puck. You know, I mean, how bad
well,
is that?
he would do Jewish jokes. He would do black jokes. He would call blacks lazies. Oh, you know, is he looking at me?
Sammy Davis.
He was funny. He was very funny, and he took advantage of the stereotypes. But
could a Rickles survive in today's atmosphere?
I don't think so.
Because everybody's taking everybody a little too seriously.
Even Joan Rivers.
Dean Martin's daughter was on a show the other morning talking about that "Baby It's Cold Outside" song, and saying that the stuff that her father did wouldn't go over today. There'd be problems with it today.
There was a disc jockey somewhere who said he was not going to play that song anymore because it was anti-feminist.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's find out who that disc jockey is and never listen to him again.
I just read it
last week. Me to explain that to her.
Well, no.
What is the reason why we can't listen to that?
Because there's a line in there where he says,
"Don't go outside."
What did you put in my drink?
And they think that it means like a Bill Cosby date rape.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, to begin with, when that song was written, there were no date rape drugs. Okay.
There were also
it was 59.
Also, that line.
No, it wasn't 59. It was 49.
Truth or something.
It was 49.
It was before 59.
Neptune.
Okay.
It was in Neptune's.
Her daughter said something about 59.
It was in Neptune's daughter. 1949.
That's right. Yeah, they showed it.
There were no date rape drugs. What'd you put in my drink? Maybe you put a little alcohol in there. Whatever.
Spanish fly.
Yeah,
they had Spanish fly.
And also, there's the implication that he keeps touching her and trying to get her to loosen up.
It was in a movie.
She doesn't really want
it was
that.
in a movie. Did you ever see the movie clip? He's not touching her.
I know. It's all bullshit. I'm just saying what the disc jockey was saying. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was written by who was it? Was it
Frank
Lesser? And his wife.
Together, they wrote it together. They did a song every year for a party that they did, and one of the requirements to get into the party or be part of the party is you had to put on an act of some sort, and that was what they did as the host of the party. They did this song one year. It became so popular among all their friends that they did it every year, and that's the way it went.
And somebody at MGM heard it and made it part of the movie Neptune's Daughter, in which the guy he's just wooing the woman. He's telling her, hey, I must go, but baby, it's cold outside, and can't I stay? We just lost.
Somebody came up with new lyrics to the song that makes it politically correct.
What's his name played it the other night. It's not funny at all. It's really dull and horrible.
I haven't heard.
Really dull. Jack played it the other night. But it's just, that's the kind of political correctness I'm talking about. To begin with, the thing was written and performed in 1949. Put it in its context. Forget about today. No, you probably wouldn't write a song like that. But today, them was then and this is now, and let's...
That's like, Alex, in some songs they say, oh, let's have a gay parade and let's have a gay fair. And back in like 1940, it meant like happy.
Well, when I was a kid,
oh baby, there's global warming outside.
Let me I'm going to go to Patrick in a second, but let me just say, when I was a kid, that was a favorite song of mine. And you know what? When I grew up, I raped women all the time.
See?
Yes, Patrick. Yes, Patrick.
I wonder. I haven't been to any Christmas parties in several years because I've been, not employed at a company, and I'm not a big party guy anyway. But I wonder if mistletoe is used in any parties anywhere.
That's an interesting idea.
For years, because everybody knows what happens when you walk under the mistletoe.
Hang it on your zipper.
Yeah, exactly.
On your belly button.
Right.
Yeah, so it's above,
Would do it at the party. You would have them hanging off their tie or something. But we're ascribing our morals of today to something that's 70 fucking years old. You know
something. I got to tell you that I'm going to be 79 in a few days. Okay. And one of the great advantages...
Look a day over 78.
Thank you. The one great thing about being 79 is that I don't have to worry about this shit. Because if I were young, if I were young and I were dating today, I'd probably be afraid to date. You know,
how old was Bill Cosby?
Bill Cosby's in his 80s somewhere, 84 maybe.
And he's serving that time, right?
I wonder what he's doing right now.
Yeah, right.
Sleeping?
Well, he ain't nobody's bitch. Patrick.
Alec, you probably remember when I first started on Sirius and talking to you.
Yeah.
I used to date a lot. And then I got involved with my ex, and that was for several years. And then I dated a little bit after that. I haven't dated in probably about 3 or 4 years now, because this whole Me Too shit and the way that we used to talk to people, it's so fucked up. I don't want any part of it.
Right.
And I
you got to meet people on the internet.
You know, when I first got divorced, I started dating pretty heavy Match.com, and I was spending so much. I was spending about $4,000 a month, and this is like in 2003. Yeah. I was actually I was looking at my credit card bills. I was spending $4,000 a month going out to dinner and
Jesus,
drinks.
where were you going to dinner?
I went to good places, you know, and they were girls that I never even wanted to see again.
$1,000 a week on dates?
Yeah, well, dinner is $200.
I'll date you. I'll take it.
You should have just done the in and out.
Yeah, I should have. But no, you know that, and I finally, you know, I got some girlfriends. It took about 6-7 months until I, you know, because people don't want to date you when you first get divorced, you know, because you got stink. And but they'll go out to dinner. They'll go out to dinner with you, especially if you're spending a couple $100 a meal. And,
I'd go out with you.
You can go see Lisa Lampanelli in Connecticut in April of next year.
Yeah, but she's not doing stand-up, I heard, right?
She quit, yeah. She
got trashed the last time she did her act.
She got what?
Because she's not fat anymore?
By the audience.
Because I don't think she can do that anymore.
Out here in San Jose.
But she's not fat anymore, right?
Right.
Well, she was never... No, she's not. Last time I saw her, she wasn't.
And she's not fat, and she didn't get funny.
Well,
yeah, I mean, she's no Rickles. I'm just saying, you know.
She was really insulting.
I thought she was decent on those roasts. You know, they had those celebrity roasts.
I hated those celebrity roasts.
Yeah. Alex, did you not think she's funny?
I didn't find her funny at all.
He worshipped her.
You know, and a lot of comedians I find funny. I mean, I have no idea why Amy Schumer is funny. Absolutely no idea.
It's her last name.
Isn't she related to Chuck? That could be why, right?
She is.
Is she?
She is.
Yeah,
she's Chuck Schumer's niece. Yeah.
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 Huh.
Yeah.
That's probably why she's funny.
He's funnier than she is.
Right, he is funny.
That's pretty bad.
Yes, Ray.
Amy Schumer posted a video of herself on Instagram today with her morning sickness, puking backstage.
Oh, yeah.
Is she pregnant?
Vomit.
Yeah. And she videotaped the entire barfing experience in the toilet.
Funny.
Now. What the fuck?
And then people were praising her for it. Oh, how wonderful of you to be so open and.
Oh God, now they'll be.
And all it was like, this is just disgusting.
It's ridiculous.
Is she got a RAID 5 or a RAID 6?
By the way, I didn't do a bad thing by buying this thing, did I?
Rob?
What is
what do you mean? Why a bad thing?
Oh, I don't know.
You just spent another $600 on 3 drives.
Yeah, no.
Oh, you got an external drive?
Forget it.
Oh,
Let's not even get into it. Let's not
forget about it.
Listen to the rerun.
Forget about it.
Listen to the rerun.
How's Marjorie doing?
She's she complained. She says my leg still hurts and everything. And then she didn't come home till like 2 in the afternoon today. She was out.
She's at work.
She was out getting her hair done and having some coffee, and then she comes back and goes, "Oh, my leg is killing me." Well,
shit.
Well, and then I come into the foyer, and she's there with the mail, and she hasn't even got the cane. She isn't even using the cane. She's like wobbling around without the cane, and I'm going.
She should use the cane.
I'm going. How you doing? She says, "Oh, terrible. I got to get to bed." You know.
Well, she was with a mail.
Christmas lights?
Let's put it this way: she's walking better than Patrick. Okay.
She was with another male.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. I don't mind that. You know.
That's why she wanted to get to bed.
But you know, I mean, by measures, she's getting better. Okay. Good. And I assume that as the weeks go by. I mean, right now this is 2 weeks since the operation, so she's got another 4 weeks of the leg brace, and then, you know, then she can bend the leg if she can bend it. But she has to go to physical therapy, and you know, it's a long haul.
Yeah. But she's back at work.
She's going to work for a couple hours a day, not the full thing. But she went back to her office after what 2 weeks, I think, since she got tripped and fell, and you know, she went back to work after 2 weeks, and her desk was piled high with mail, you know, all the mail and packages and stuff that had come in for the 2 weeks. She did a lot of work from home here, but the one thing she couldn't do was open the mail.
They could have messengered it over to her. You know, the same thing's happening at my store. My operations manager's on vacation. He went to Hawaii for almost 2 weeks. Yeah. And so other than processing the orders, any other thing that has to be done is stacked up in his inbox. When he comes back on Monday, I got a surprise for him.
I'll tell you what. I just went on vacation. I was off from work from the week of Thanksgiving, and so that was 3 days of work, and then there's the 2 days of the holiday, and the following week through Thursday went back to work on Friday. And the entire time, because I said to myself, I'm not going to look at my work email. I carry my phone. I get my work email on my phone. But I kept looking, and I watched that number going up and up and up with all these unread emails. And I got to tell you, I was more stressed out by the end of my vacation.
Yeah.
That I had to get back to figure out what I was going to walk into than it is to go on vacation.
I hate email.
I mean, it fucking sucks. I came back on the Friday on purpose so that I didn't have to think about it over the weekend. So I went back to work on the Friday. I tried to catch up on everything so that I could have a regular weekend, and then Monday hit the ground running and get back into the swing of things. Because this world we live in moves so goddamn fast that you take a week off, 10 days off, and you're behind the 8 ball, and you pay for it.
People's expectations of how fast you should get back to them. Right now, it's almost immediate. It used to be you mailed him a letter. You know, 3-4 days later, he got the letter.
That's true.
Yeah. I know, it's ridiculous.
It sucks.
Remember life before email? How great it was?
Oh, yeah. Boy.
I miss the old days.
Yeah.
Right. You wouldn't waste your time writing an email unless the person had. I mean, like you used to have to write a Post-it note and walk over to their desk or whatever and
leave it.
Like, okay, is it worth it for me to do that? And I need to know. And now just boom, everyone just sends email, and like you don't know what's important and what isn't.
Right, right. And it you know, but but anyway, so we came back to a lot of mail, plain and simple, and it's been. But it's going to be a hard slog for her. But she's getting better, and the only thing that is now, I mean, I don't think she's going to take a shower for the next 4 weeks. She's doing, she's doing sponge baths, so she's keeping clean.
That's good.
But you know, to get her to stand up in the shower, to get into the shower with that brace,
and then you'd have to cover it up with like plastic. And everything, right?
Yeah. She, you know. It's just too much trouble. It's better if she just does a sponge bath, and if she feels that that's keeping her hygienically okay, you know. Then
she's French. Huh? I thought they said that she could take the brace off to take a shower.
No, No, they don't want her taking that off at all. They want that leg straight at all times. Okay, because that operation has to heal. It's interesting though. I saw the scar. So he took off the bandage when she went to the office, and there, was some blood on the bandage and so on. But then I looked at the scar, and it's nice. It's about this long.
Wow!
See that, folks?
It's vertical, not horizontal.
It's vertical, down the knee, but it is just a thin line. And guess how many stitches he took out?
30.
2.
What? 2 stitches.
You know what? Use glue.
They use glue. Yeah.
Wow.
They use glue. And you know what the glue they use probably is super glue. Yeah. Because
I heard super glue. Like if you get a cut on your hand, it doesn't stop bleeding. You should like put super glue in there and go to the hospital.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also I use some super glue tonight. If it'll stick your fingers together really tight. I mean, you don't like doing that.
I hate when that happens.
But
you use acetone to get super glue.
But he said we use glue, and she said you'll have hardly a scar at all. You have just a little thin line. He said if we did a lot of stitching, you'd have that would be a bad thing. Yes, Patrick.
Well, the best thing about my scar for my back surgery, I can't see it.
On your back.
Right.
Well, Marjorie has a big one on her back from when she had the back surgery. Luckily, hers turned out better than yours.
If she's got a scar on her back, what's that tattoo that women get on their back?
Tramp stamp.
The
tramp stamp. Yeah.
Not anymore, but I think they're out, aren't they? Aren't they kind of out?
I thought they were out when they got.
I've been known to watch porn occasionally. That's the one hard drive I want to back up.
Why do they call it a hard drive?
Otherwise, if it goes, I'll back up. Anyway, the preponderance of tattoos, like if I run across a porn loop and the woman is heavily tattooed, ditch it. I mean, I don't know. They get these tattoos all up and down their arm, right?
They call them the sleeves.
The sleeves or whatever. And some of them, I see these guys on TMZ, these rap stars who've got tattoos on their faces, and it's not like they're coordinated.
Hey,
it's like a little something here and then something over here, and
the white supremacists that have all of this shit on their face, things like "fuck you, man" and all of this stuff.
Yeah, but anyway,
you think they can get a job?
Yeah,
aren't those your people?
Yeah,
but I'm thinking, you're only 21, all right? What are you going to think of this shit when you're 70?
Right, you got
death, and your grandchildren are going, hey, have you seen Grandma's arm? What's that blotchy thing all over her arm?
Right. The good news is with those, they'll probably nobody will ever. There won't be any grandchildren, so that's a good thing.
On the beach at Ibiza, I was sitting there years ago, and there was an old man, really old guy, got to be in his 80s. He had like a goiter going, the whole thing, and it looked like it didn't look like he had much time to live. And on his arm, faded away, just completely faded, was the name of a woman. And I kept thinking to myself, does he even remember who she was?
Right.
That tattoo is so old. Does she remember who he was?
That's how he remembers.
I've never gotten a tattoo, and one of the reasons I've never gotten a tattoo is I've never had a meaningful tattoo that I wanted to get, that had something important in my life. Like I met one woman who won an Olympic medal, okay? And she had on her ankle the Olympic rings tattooed. I could see that because when she's 90, she can look at that and go, yes, I remember that, But
we're Jews. We don't get tattoos.
Well, no. If Marjorie has one on her ankle.
Really?
It says Buddy.
Yeah.
It says
Buddy Love.
Buddy, yeah, it might be Buddy Love. It says Buddy.
That's why he keeps dropping by.
And she says she doesn't mind it, but then again, it's on her ankle. You know, she can always hide it by wearing socks or whatever. But these people who get tattoos on their face, I mean, do they really,
knuckles? They got knuckles.
They obviously have an idea. They're not going to live more than 2 years or something because they're going to regret having those someday. You know,
Mike Tyson got like half his face tattooed.
Right.
Yes, but you know something?
He's black.
You know something? Mike Tyson did it in a way that was, I have to say, kind of artful.
It is artful.
Yeah, it was quite artful, and a lot of people emulated it. As a matter of fact,
it's not all hodgepodge.
Right, stuff. It is a concept, and the Rock has a whole bunch of tribal tattoo on his arm, but that's because he's Samoan, and he felt that was tribal and part of his heritage, and it's a good-looking tattoo. But I'm talking about this other shit where it's like a cowgirl, you know, or
Rodman. Who's that flamboyant? Rodman. Rodman had some pretty ugly tattoos.
Yeah, they're all over. They're just random.
Gnarly looking ones. Yeah.
Yes, let's see here. Who had his hand up first, Patrick or Ray?
Patrick.
Patrick.
Okay. I have a cousin, and he had tattoos on his knuckles and all sorts of borderline gang stuff that he had from when he was like 18, 19, 20, and then he wanted to become a police officer. He is a cop, but he had to go get all of that shit lasered off, and it's not covered by insurance.
Right, it's expensive.
It's out of pocket, and it's several weeks of the same fucking scar getting.
It hurts too, I think.
I had an installer that had one from the Navy. He was in Subic Bay and had some Navy tattoos with the anchor and stuff. And then he had that lasered off, and it still looks like there's something there. And he said it was very painful.
Well, the thing is, and I can't remember it now, but I know a woman who had her tattoos removed, and you can remove certain colors, but you can't remove others. I think black can be removed okay.
Right.
Red, I think, can be removed okay, but I think it's blue that they can't remove, or green. And, they can shoot as much laser as they want to there and not get rid of it. But, I mean, I would imagine in a few years somebody's going to have some kind of a process where they can remove eat me? Is that what it says? Oh,
makeup.
I know what you did. You just put that on your hand, didn't you? You just did that, right?
Yeah. That was like that old Robert Mitchum movie.
Yeah, right.
Where he had love and hate.
Right. But I mean, I just don't understand why people get tattoos. I would never get one unless I had, like, if I had a child and I wanted to put my child's name on me, I would, because that would be something that would follow me through. I wouldn't put a woman's name on me. I'll tell you that right now. I have enough experience. I know they come and go real fast. Okay. I might put Marjorie on here because that one's probably going to last me the rest of my life, which could be about a minute and a half.
That one.
Huh?
How do you feel, Alex, about like all that Sanskrit, like Lady Gaga and like those actresses? They have all this crazy Sanskrit writing.
Well, that makes more sense than a picture of Roy Rogers and Dale Evans,
right,
or something like that. At least it has something that makes a statement.
And it's really small. It's you can barely see that it's writing.
Along her bikini line, or above her pubic line, rather. I knew a woman that actually years ago had the name Picasso tattooed across her pubic line.
It's the weirdest tattoo.
And it was his signature. It was the one that was in paintings. And she used to make a big deal about it. Oh, my pussy's been signed by Picasso.
Yeah.
It's a work of art.
Yeah.
You ever see
Ray had his hand up. Ray had his hand up earlier, and I forgot to go to him.
I just want Alex, for me, like growing up in the city, there were so many sailors around all the time, and like Harley Davidson guys, and those were the only ones that had tattoos.
Yeah.
And that's all I think about in my head. It's like I can't ever get a tattoo because I just associate it with sailors and biker dudes.
Well, I never had anything also meaningful enough that I wanted to put on me that I'd say, hey, 20 years from now, I won't regret this.
Exactly.
And I'm not, and that is not, as I said, my experience has told me, don't make it a woman because you're going to regret that.
You know, when the tramp stamps were really at their height of popularity, I remember Saturday Night Live had this skit when people they had everyone get really old and their tramp stamps were sagging. And, you know, they're like sagging down into their butts and stuff. It was really funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They had some issue. They had to try to figure out how to fix it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what's going to be fun. Like, you know, I'll live, you know, maybe 20 some more years and 30 years, and I'll be able to see some tattooed people and that are like 20 now, what they look like when they're like 50 or something, you know.
Does it hurt to get a tattoo?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I would imagine it's painful. I wouldn't. Do you have a tattoo, Patrick?
I've got 4 of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Where are they and what do they say?
Star Wars?
No, okay. Oh, there's one, of course. Yeah. And there's one up above, and then down around your legs you have something that says out of order, right?
Water. Got 2
That's a military, like, right?
on each shoulder.
Yeah. Now, did that hurt?
No, and I hate needles, but when I got my first tattoo, it was 3 years after I got paralyzed, and the motto that I've lived by, I'm sure some of you know this just from my Facebook post and that, is only easy day was yesterday. And that's the Navy SEAL motto. Yeah. And it was something that motivated me when I got paralyzed. And I decided that I wanted that tattooed on me as a reminder. And the symbol for my favorite Star Wars character, Boba Fett, is something that I always liked. So I combined the 2 of them, and that was my first tattoo. So I asked my cousin, who was tatted up, the one with the knuckles and all that, and he said, it's going to hurt about the first minute, and then
you pass out.
Your adrenaline just starts up, and it just kind of numbs the area, and it just gets annoying, and that's all it is. But where you got it, Patrick, it's not that painful. Like if you do it on your ankle, I think it's thin there.
I got something for you.
Wherever there are nerves, it hurts.
What happens if tomorrow is easier than today?
It never is.
You're going to have to have it removed.
Yeah. Hey, it's just fake news then. I picked up this girl at Perry's back in the 70s, and we went back to my apartment and in the city, and we started doing the dirty deed. Well, she had a tattoo around her ass of a rose. So her anus, the opening, there was a rose tattooed around it. So I asked, does it hurt? Because you think it hurt on the ankle? What would it do if the inside of the rose was your asshole and there was the leaves of the rose around it?
Years ago, I produced an album called Songs That Made America Famous with Pat Sky. And we created an album cover that was kind of in bad taste, with people throwing up on it and so on. And then for the album itself, we made you remember Apple Records? Remember what it looked like? Well, instead, we made it a butt. And we put the hole for the album right in where the asshole goes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nah.
So.
Yeah. This gal had to be, pretty tough to get a tattoo of a rose around her anus.
Yeah. Well, I just, yes, Jeff, who has lots of tattoos. Yes, Jeff.
I have no tattoos, but I have surgical tattoos.
What?
Surgical tattoos.
Cut here?
Yeah, cut here.
Cut on
little dotted line,
cut on dotted
little
line.
like cutting out coupons.
Yeah.
Yeah, they cost a lot more than the tattoos you guys are talking about.
Oh, do you actually have tattoos that are medical tattoos?
No.
Okay.
What I'm saying is I do have enough scars in certain spots that look like a tattoo.
Yeah.
But I can always remember my cousins who were had tattoos from World War II in being in Germany. And they had a number on there. Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, those tattoos.
Did
On
Jack,
the forearm.
did Jack Garfine?
No.
Did Jack Garfine have no?
No. He explained to me that he didn't. What did he say? Why he didn't have one? He said that not everybody got a tattoo. Oddly enough,
Some got a Buick.
no, that he was.
They got tongue piercings.
He was too young or something, and they didn't tattoo the young kids or whatever. But that he got in some camps they tattooed them, other camps they didn't.
My friend's father was 12 when he went into the camp, and he got a tattoo. Was Jack younger than that? He was in Auschwitz, and
Jack was went into the camps. I think, if I remember correctly, at 13. If memory serves me correctly, I'd have to go back.
Did they make him work, or what did they assign him to
Well,
do?
he said he was 15 to them.
Oh.
Okay, so they put him on a work detail. If he had said he was younger, they would have sent him to the gas chamber.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So he managed to lie. In fact, you heard the story where he met up with Mengele. And,
nice boy.
And Mengele was saying, "You go over there, you go over there. If you went over there, you were going to the gas chambers. If you were going over there, you were going to a work party." And he said, "So, young boy, how old are you?" And his mother told him, "No matter who asks you, say you're like 15." So he said, "I'm 15." And he said, "Okay, nice boy," pinched him on the cheek or touched him on the cheek and said, "Go over there." And so he went over there, and as he was going over there, Capo said, "Come with me." And he said, "Wait a minute, I got to go back and tell that nice man I'm not really 15.
Yeah.
And the Capo said, "Keep moving."
Right.
He said, so that guy saved my life, and then by a way of doing it, so did Mengele. You know.
Now the Capo was a prisoner, a Jewish prisoner,
Jewish
right?
prisoner who did the bidding of the,
Nazis. Yeah.
Nazis. They were.
And that
Now,
was
Jack-
alive, yeah.
Jack said he was a Zionist, or his father was a Zionist.
His father was a Zionist. Yeah.
Did he have the same feelings about Zionism and Israel as?
I've never gotten into that really heavily with him, but he didn't seem like he was particularly a Zionist, because I've told him that I wasn't fond of Zionism.
Did you tell him that Susan's father was what was he?
A Bundist. Yeah, we've talked about that. I mentioned that to him.
Yeah.
The Bund.
Yeah. Jewish socialist.
Yeah,
Bund.
the Bund.
Which were the political enemies of
Trump and Schumer.
Yeah, worse. I mean, they really politically, they had two entirely different philosophies of how you were going to survive the Holocaust, and how after the fact. The Zionists, their theory was we're going to go back to Israel. We're going to go. They never lived in Israel. They were used to living in in cities in Germany and Poland and so on. But the Bundists believed that you didn't want to put all your Jews in one basket, as it were. That you spread Jews all over the face of the earth into a diaspora. But the one thing you take with you is your culture. And so books and music and everything were a very important part of the Jewish Socialist Bundists. And so they created a lot of Yiddish theater and music and so on, and said as long as we have that and as long as we have the culture, we can be anywhere in the world. So there were two entirely different theories on how you do this, and I think the Bundists were right, because you got all your Jews in one basket, and look what's happening. So.
Cool.
No, the Jews, it was, what's 13 million Jews. What's there, 4 million in Israel. So that, that means nine.
There's a lot. There are
spread
about
out.
9 million of us annoying people elsewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
9 million more to make cheap jokes about,
Yeah.
Why are the Jews been so persecuted over time?
Well, one time I said something on the air. People, I said it in New York too. I said, the Nazis tried to kill us. Pharaoh wouldn't let us stay. It chased us out of Egypt. Do you have an idea we're doing something that pisses people off?
That's exactly what I want to know.
Belle Barth had a joke. She used to say, the Jews are the chosen people, but why won't they choose someone else once in a while?
Well, I'll tell you the reason why Jews are hated throughout the world in many cases. Somebody mentioned this the other day, and it was the best theory I've ever heard about it, you blame it on the Bible. Because people have been led to believe that the Jews killed Christ.
Yeah.
And that's where the whole anti-Semitism started. Now, the fact is the Jews didn't kill Christ because, Christ was a Jew. What?
They didn't participate in the Crusades, so they were still home while all the Christian men were out spreading the gospel during the Crusades. By then, though,
the Christians had this idea about Jews as being the people that killed Christ.
Yeah.
That's so true. My grandmother, even before Vatican II, the Catholic Church conspired with the Nazis. And my grandmother, I hate to say this, I mean, she thought Jewish people were going to hell.
When I was growing up, I was friends with a Catholic kid, O'Hanlon, and O'Hanlon said to me, "Your people killed Christ." And I said, "Where'd you hear that?" And he says, "They tell us in church."
Yeah, they used to. Yeah.
Yeah. When I was growing up in North Beach, I mean, kids would say, "There's the Christ killer."
Yeah.
And I go, well, I really didn't have anything to do with it,
all those Italians.
I wasn't around then. But
all those Italians would say that to you.
Yeah, but so that's where I think anti-Semitism comes from. And you can't say that Islamic people are anti-Semitic because, in fact,
they are Semitic.
They are Semitic.
It came from Bobby O'Hanlon. That's where all of it came from.
Bobby O'Hanlon?
Yeah, in the Bronx.
In the Bronx.
Yeah, he was the one that said, the Jews, you killed Christ, you're Jewish.
Yeah, well, I kept, when kids would say that to me, I'd say, yeah, and if he comes back, we do it again. But no, I mean, the fact is that Islamics don't really hate Jews because theology-wise, they are similar, very similar.
Abraham.
But they all come from Abraham, yes. Yeah. But they are very similar because we both believe in a single God,
See, if we would have turned left, we would have gotten the oil.
Yeah, well, but instead we only got enough to
then we could have just hated the Arabs.
But then we only got enough for one day, but it lasted 8, so we were very frugal with it. So yeah, and thank you, folks. I just did the Passover dissertation.
Why is this night more special than any other night?
4 questions.
That's it's Hanukkah now. Passover is coming up. Hey! We're going to be back again next week for the last week until the Christmas break that we traditionally take around here. So I hope you guys will be back. I want you to notice that Jeff has been here this evening. We're taking roll here. Charlene Martinez has been here tonight. Patrick Blazek, the man of many tattoos, has been with us this evening. Phil Meyer didn't even get us mad tonight because I don't think we mentioned Trump once tonight, maybe for a second. Huh?
Raid 7.
Yeah, Alex Nothing. And thank you very much, Rob, and thank you to Ray. If all of you would give a nice wave goodbye, I'll wave goodbye to you too, okay? There they go, folks. That's our citizen panel for tonight. And hopefully they'll be back again next week. Next week, where, as I say, we're doing a whole week of shows, and then there's nothing between next Friday night and the 2nd of December, January. What am I saying? See, that's how I'm going wacko. Anyway, that's it for tonight, folks. That winds it up. We're going to be back again on Tuesday, and then right after us now. Can I do this? Start this all over again. Right after us now is Jack Bishop and the Intersection, a very fine program, and that will be followed by absolutely nothing except our 24/7 replaying of all the programs. We'll be back again Tuesday night, right after the exchange with Damian Chaplin at 9:30 Eastern Time. We'll be here at 10, same time, same station in life. And in the meantime, if you see her, you know what to do. Tell her I love her, okay? Bye-bye.